If you're just getting started with Wingspan, this is a great starting place for strategy tips and tactics, because a good game never has one singular strategy that wins every time, but there are sometimes paths that lead more frequently to a win. So this video is going to show you how to increase your win percentage at Wingspan when you're just getting started. There are all kinds of competing ideas about how to play this game. I'm going to use tips from the Board Game Geek, Reddit, and an independent site in my first game ever and see who gives the best advice. Let's take a look at what suggestions people are making. What I've done is organized all of this into an overall approach, an early game, mid game, and late game. Then I'll try applying this to a game to see how it works out. So most people seem to agree that Wingspan is more of an action efficiency game than an engine builder. So if you can gain multiple resources like food and eggs and cards with one action, then you're going to get way more points. As a starter, if you can play birds in the meadow that generate food and or cards, people agree that you should try that. Any bird that gets you off row benefits is a keeper. So if you can get eggs while drawing cards or food while laying eggs, then you save an action. There's some debate as to whether you should get all habitats going or just one or two. Pick habitats that match the round objectives and personal bonuses though. But generally, people do seem to think that 2 habitats is ideal. Choosing birds that move is great. Also, ravens are massively overpowered.
Chihuahuan raven. This bird is native to the Chihuahuan Desert of the southwest US and northern Mexico.
They are the best cards in the game. Tucking cards is great, especially if you're using a card cycling tactic using the killdeer and the Franklin's gull, or the pied-billed grebe and the ruddy duck. Also remember that you shouldn't help other players by activating their benefits. The red crossbill, for example, gives all players 1 wheat. Don't focus on reroll abilities. The problem with those are that the results are completely unreliable. Let's move now to the early game, or the beginning part of the game. According to Nicholas Shako on BGG, the game hinges on the 5 bird cards you get to start the game. Great cards are the blue-gray gnatcatcher, the chipping sparrow, and 2 early game OP cards are the killdeer and Franklin's gull in the grassland. They mean that you never need to use the wetlands action again. That's where you dump birds with immediate powers or birds worth points. If you're dealt migrating birds early, build and use them. Migrate them where you want to activate. Also, choose bonus cards that you think you can complete, and low-cost cards early. Get cards that are easy to get onto the table, and get an engine efficient without spending a lot of food. Early on, you want to start with generalization, and as the game progresses, you want to end with specialization. We'll get to that a little bit later. You should try to get 1 bird in each habitat as well. Prioritize food from the top row. Forest birds need to produce their own food. And the quicker that you can generate that row to be bringing in 3 food, the more options you have in deciding which birds to build your synergies with or to go after end of round or personal goals. Also, don't forget to focus on early round goals. It's a side quest though, not the main quest. Like Race for the Galaxy, this game is about choosing your strategy early. My first instinct was to put birds who lay eggs into the grassland to compound that power, but as players improve, they seem to put egg layers in the forest or the wetland. They put card draw birds in the grassland and forest, and they put food finders in the grassland or wetland. Another broad strategy that you should employ is to build a middle row with 4 to 5 birds, and often corvid birds such as ravens and crows that generate any kind of food could be very useful in that row. Early in the game, it can be very powerful to get birds with good pink powers, for example vultures who give you food when someone else hunts. That saves you a whole turn. Most people don't lay eggs too early in the game, so save pink egg-laying benefits for later. Another early and mid-game approach that can be very productive is the mill. Once you know what your strategy will be, swap cards quickly or cycle your cards so that you can get the ones that fit your engine. So now is the time to really put to use that killdeer and Franklin's gull to your benefit. Let's move to the mid-game. In the mid-game, you should be focusing more on generating eggs. Aim for 3 egg production. Lay as many eggs as you can, especially in the last few turns of round 4. Also, in round 2, you should aim for card draws. The mid-game is all about resource and card accumulation by playing birds and aiming for the engine's efficiency. Don't sabotage your engine or trap it by trying to edge someone else out for the round because if it's a small point differential, say 2 points versus 4 points. That's not a big deal. However, getting the 0 is bad, so you should try to be in the running. You should also, in the mid-game, grab copycat birds. Always. They enhance every single strategy automatically. Other great birds are the Joker Nest birds, and they also apply to most goals. Also, pay attention to what the other players are doing. Sometimes it's very easy to get distracted just by your own specific focus. Let's move to the endgame. In the endgame, you should focus on a particular habitat, and this is the specialization stage of the game. This is all about point generation. Your engine building is over. If you're still drawing cards or gathering food, that's a complete waste of your last 5 actions. You should play high point bird values, like 7 to 9 points at the end, lay eggs, and use food that you already have. Also, this is where it's really important to pay attention to the bonus cards. But again, not too much attention. Spamming eggs in the late game also seems to be an efficient way to end. 3 to 4 turns in the last round are often used for this. However, many argue that you really should be capitalizing on using the engine that you've built. That may or may not be based around egg spamming. Laying eggs is a common ending because you don't need a specific engine to do it. All you need are birds in the grasslands. Aiming to play 2 or 3 high point birds in the final round is also a very valid strategy, especially if these birds also fulfill bonus card objectives. So if you pair these up properly, each can be worth a net value of more than 5 points each. The question is then, why would anyone build a wetland engine if you can just fill the grassland and spam eggs? And the wetland is a good way to mitigate the luck of the draw in this game. So if you're a player who prefers to make your own luck, that's the endgame goal that you might want to aim for. To summarize then, it seems that you should try to put together an engine that works based on the cards that you get and the bonus objectives that are offered. But if that fails, then just default to spamming eggs. Some players make the mistake of drawing cards in the 4th round to play a little 3-point bird rather than laying eggs for 3 to 4 points each turn. I have to say that with Wingspan, my family absolutely loved this game, not because they were finding all these efficiencies, but because they wanted to collect certain birds or win certain powers or get to the end of round bonuses. The scores at the end were not nearly as important in this game as they were in other games. However, if you're struggling to beat the automata on your first few games, as I did, you'll want to start working these strategies into your gameplay. This game is very much like a real-life ecosystem with interdependencies. The theme is integral to the game, so don't get too caught up with the win. Have some fun and let yourself get pulled into the world of Wingspan. Of all the tips and strategies that I've compiled, I have to say that the Geek is my favorite because of its precise and useful tips on how to get better at this game with concrete suggestions of play. Feel free to check it out. It's really useful. If these tips helped you get started in your first game and offered useful advice, please consider showing your appreciation with a like and join the Legendary Tactics Habitat by subscribing. Thanks for your time.